Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to your August forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's so good to see everybody. I hope your month has gotten off to a great start. This can be used obviously for this month and actually even a little bit into the next month. About 6 weeks is what this forecast will comprise. I'm going to make it up to some of you for waiting a little bit by flipping the zodiac sign around and basically starting with Pisces and then Aquarius. So you'll get your next reading a little bit earlier. So I've been doing that a little bit as I've been in the throes of a move here. So thank you for your patience. Enough of that. Let's get into your channeled messages. We're going to do real-time channeling. I did this on the weekly collective and everybody liked it. So I'm actually in real-time channeling things for your sign for the month ahead. So as I was tuning in, what I saw initially was a figure 8. And I also got this sort of looping, kind of like a record that's on repeat. And I feel like one of the biggest challenges and opportunities for Aquarius this month is possibly to break some of those cycles that you've gotten used to, right? There's a time and a place for things to be consistent and dependable, but sometimes we get so used to that we get in a rut. So I'm encouraging you to break yourself free of some of those patterns. Now, if you want to start something new, the fact that I saw the figure 8 also shows me that it has a good chance of sticking. So if you want to, let's say, change up your exercise routine or eat a little bit better, or maybe take on something new like, if you're studying a foreign language or something like that, whatever you commit yourself to, it feels like it has a great chance of sticking. Whatever you want to release, whatever's been stagnant, whatever's been too predictable, it feels like you can absolutely let it go during this cycle. So to me, that was a really nice symbol to come through. And then I'm also, as we're talking, paying attention to the grooves, like on a vinyl record. And for many of you, you're going to get back into a groove that feels good for you. So if you felt just a little bit, discombobulated or out of sorts, trying what I just talked about, changing up the routine, could actually help you find something that feels better. Sometimes we just have to change it up a bit. Going back to the record idea or the vinyl album, what I'm also getting as I'm tuning into that for many of you is creating better harmony in your life, because I'm thinking of the musical component of it. So as you start to look at people, places, and things that you have in your life, do you feel this sense of harmony and balance and passion? And if you don't, this is also a chance for you to release that. So basically what Spirit is coming through loud and clear right now for you, Aquarius, to do is look at things and really make a decision. Is this worth your time and energy? If I were to assign everything I just talked about one card, it feels like it's really going to be 6 of Pentacles, because there is some discernment sort of associated with all of this. So you have to think, is it working? Is it not? Am I keeping enough for me? And how can I be smarter about choices overall? So that was your real-time channeling for the month ahead. Now we're going to get into the monthly forecast where I shuffle the cards and let's see what's coming through. All right, Aquarius, please close your eyes. Let go of any sort of preconceived notions that you have. Just welcome in whatever guidance is of the highest good. And we're going to call in, to help facilitate that, angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. Take a deep breath. Let it all go. Open your eyes. Let's begin. Already a small synchronicity here with the 8 of Cups, which is making and breaking cycles, so that's good to see. right, let's begin. We're going to get started here with your catalyst. We have the mountain making an appearance here. Catalyst energy helps us connect to the necessary action, spark some change, make some movement. Sorry, as I drop the card here. The mountain reminds me a lot of Ten of Wands, and actually it's mountains plural. So some of you may be juggling a few things at once, a couple of projects, a couple of priorities. There might be a lot coming through. I might pull the Ten of Wands here in just a second to compare it, but basically we can either focus on the jubilant joy that is part of being at the top of the mountain and just saying, I did it, or we can focus on how, sort of arduous or difficult that ascent might be. Not necessarily will be, but might be. So we can create this mountain of anxiety or fear or thought surrounding the beginning of a phase when really we should just focus on taking a step at a time. As somebody who enjoys hiking, I can attest to, the importance of, yes, knowing what you're in for, but also just taking a deep breath, enjoying what's around you. And before you know it, you look back and you think, how did I come so far? That's life in general, isn't it? Here's the Ten of Wands, which can show that sort of feeling of, the buildup and the work that it takes, but it's worth it, okay? Some Ten of Wands actually will show, someone going up or down a hill. Actually, the Lightseers deck does a good job at that. And let's just imagine that you're closer to the top than you think, and it's going to be like smooth sailing on the descent. Like back when I was a kid and I used to ride my bike, I remember that was the best payoff for cycling up to, the top of a hill, because you could kind of just like breeze down. So it's worth it. That's the takeaway here. And it feels like there's a couple of little peaks and valleys. So if you can get through the first one, the next one, you're actually already half the distance there. And both of these are really, really good opportunities. So I think it's worth the push. As I'm looking at this spread in front of me, I see two really different types of people coming through. One is a sort of perfectionist. The Ten of Swords in the deep karmic past here is showing, especially Ten of Swords reverse, it's saying, that there's this perfectionist tendency that you want to release, but it's hard to let it go. And the call to action this month is to rest more, because we don't want to go back to this burnout energy, right? In fact, it's the opposite. This is a month of igniting your energy because the star is in the crowning position. So rest. That's the first message. This is a card of being very, very busy. So some of you are busy here in the Eight of Wands, but a little bit disconnected or bored. And that might have more to do with how connected you are to purpose. There just might be something on your plate that isn't the best use of your time, and that aligns with what we were talking about earlier. As we take a closer look at the Four of Swords, this isn't your typical one where the person's just at rest. We actually see a little bit of stress here. Some of you are having a hard time resting. When you do it, there's a feeling of guilt, like I should be working, I should be doing that. It's not okay for me to just take it easy. Rest is actually a form of processing. So even though it feels like you're doing nothing, what you're allowing your body to do is to heal. You're allowing your brain and your mind to purge out whatever they don't need so that you can be open to receiving. So yes, it's passive, but it's powerful. It's also a very receptive time during which you can receive channeled messages from spirit. So if it helps you and you're the kind of person that has a hard time breaking or resting, it is a form of planning, processing, and healing. So you have to allow that in your life in order to be sort of like it's like a car that needs maintenance, right? And also fuel. It's a little bit of both. So give yourself time to fuel up and to be properly maintained, okay? Also, I'm paying really close attention to the bedding here. When was the last time maybe that you replaced your mattress? Sometimes we let it go for way longer than we should. Same thing with pillows. And even just changing up sheets and comforter can actually change and reinvigorate your energy, because that stuff holds a lot of energy. If you are in a place where you can even put some of that out in the sun so it can recharge after it's been washed, like air dry and allow it to be in the sun, that is a great way to recharge it. Particularly like white sheets. Just let all that light and white energy get into that. And then that's going to help heal your body when you pull it around you later, okay? So a couple of nuanced messages there, but important ones. Quality and quantity matter. And it's really just asking you to look at your sleep and rest routines. If you haven't taken a break in a while, it might be time. Now, it's a busy month, and this has to be a part of the equation. But like I said, this is busy. This can be bored. This can also be like, I'm over this. So some of you may simply feel like you are clocking in and clocking out of a job, or there might be an activity in your life where you're not quite sure why you're still engaged with that. Same thing with friendships. Have you ever noticed that long after they run their course, we sometimes still just hang out in those circles? Like a groove in a vinyl record, it's hard sometimes to get out of that cycle. But if you're just going in circles and you're not going in a direction, this is particularly true if you're trying to figure out the next step in a relationship, it's time to get out of the groove, okay? Now, the Eight of Wands is really active. I feel like once you rest, once you recalibrate and figure what matters and what doesn't, then you're going to start to make some really fast progress. This card is very auspicious in business. It shows that it's busy but manageable. In life, it shows that in the blink of an eye, you're going to think like, how did I get 2 or 3 months ahead, like in the future? You'll just feel like, how did we get here? It went fast, faster than I thought. So that's why when I was looking at the mountain card, I thought to myself, don't worry too much. This mountain or these mountains are going to go a lot faster than expected, or you're going to travel them faster than you think because momentum will take you there. Speaking of which, take time to enjoy the scenery. It doesn't matter what age you are. There's no guarantees on how long or how short your life will be. So live each and every day to its maximum and don't rush. The journey is just as important as the destination, and that should probably be like the subtitle on this one. So enjoy this journey every step of the way. Don't rush to the destination. All right, let's talk a little bit about Ten of Swords. It is in the deep past, which is good, but sometimes these old habits die hard. What I'm looking at here specifically in this illustration is a difficulty in letting go. She's holding on to that phone, but that phone can be anything in our life. Specifically, though, looking at it as a modern artifact, what happens sometimes is we don't know when to disconnect from work or a conversation, where in the past, there wasn't that constant connection. If you wanted to call someone, they had to be home. And if we think back before answering machines and all of that, you either got them or you didn't, and then maybe you would just have to wait until you would see them in person. By then, your thoughts, your energy, you could process something and it would come out better because you didn't have the ability to, in real time, send something that wasn't fully baked or thought through. So let's pretend for a half minute that we couldn't text someone and it couldn't get there in a microsecond. Put it in your drafts folder and put it to bed. And because literally the center card is sleep on it. You can avoid an argument by not pressing send, by not dialing the person, by not reading a comment or a post or whatever. Put the phone, the tablet, the TV, the device away for a second. Take your dog for a walk. Go meet a friend for a bite to eat. Hang out with your kids. Whatever your connection to something else is, do that. Go out in nature. Take a hike. Do something else. Change the channel. Because before we had that instantaneous connection, sometimes it was better. We would get on with another aspect of our life and forget about something that triggered us, and then it wouldn't blow up into something bigger. So don't make a mountain out of a molehill. You'll be happy that I mentioned this as the month progresses. Just remember, I'm not going to click send yet. I'll wait until tomorrow. I'm not going to purchase this today. I'll wait until tomorrow. Leave that initial, whatever the what is it when it's almost like an impulse. Yeah. Don't go on that impulse. Give it a second. This can also just be allowing your body to heal. So if you've recently been through something difficult, a breakup, a bad job experience, a health incident, which oftentimes with the Ten of Swords can be shoulders and back, give yourself time. It takes time to heal. Okay? And ultimately with the Ten of Swords in reverse, it's saying you see the pattern. We talked about the figure eight and the grooves on the record. You see the pattern. You know what to avoid. You know how the story ends. You're not going to have to repeat this sort of same cycle. Now we're on to cycles. It's all connected, folks. So what I love about the Eight of Cups is there's always time later to come back if you need to. This is really, really important, and it's nicely connected to the Four of Swords. So this is sleeping on a major decision, giving yourself 24 hours before acting. This can be taking even longer if you need to. So the Eight of Cups, let's say you need to purchase a house or accept a job in another part of the country and you're trying to figure out, how this is going to affect you, you really want to do research on that. So you need more than maybe a day, maybe a few days, maybe 8 days, maybe a week. This is walking away from a situation to get clarity. Talk to other people, get yourself out of the sort of stress of the moment, and then you're going to make a sound and grounded decision, okay? So I very rarely tell people it's not procrastination, folks. I'm asking you to rest and get some insight and get some distance. And I think if you are naturally doing this by like meditating or taking days off or whatever, it'll be okay. It's just reinforcing it. But if you haven't done this recently, you need to rest. You need to take a step back, evaluate a major decision, and decide, do I want to do it? And that's what's coming in the environment. An option, but you have to weigh it, and there may be something more that you need, okay? 8 of Cups is also a chance to do something again and do it better. Second chances, in other words. If you have something on your bucket list where you think, I wish I had said or done that, I wish I had tried that, this is basically the Wheel of Fortune coming around one more time and saying, okay, you got a second shot. We've left some room at the table for you. Are you ready? So if you want to do something, do it. Now is the moment. If you want to let go of something or someone, now is also the time. It's basically, some of you could even be this. Am I over this? Can I move forward? Or am I stuck in this sort of energy? So it's really important now to do the necessary healing, physically and emotionally. The crowning card is the payoff for that, the star. You're actually being encouraged to step into the spotlight. So the star card is one of balance. We can see her there with those 2 buckets or 2 chalices, and she's literally the channel for this energy. The card is reversed, which means that for some of you, you may be dimming, muting, or adjusting your personality or your light to fit in somewhere else, and that isn't really where your power exists. You want to shine as brightly as possible. This is also closely connected to Aquarius. So I want you to be all of the things that make you happy and you be authentic, in other words. And that is going to be not only a key to success, but just general happiness and well-being. And because we've been picking up on some cards that show that you may have been unhappy or unhealthy in the past, let's change that, right? People can take you or leave you at your highest self. If it's not good enough, we talked about this in the weekly collective, you're a magnet. You can choose to turn the magnet towards another direction and pull in better things. And people are either going to meet your frequency or go in another direction. One last note, and then we'll move to the next card. This is closely connected to like world energy, where the main thing that you're supposed to do right now is to be seen, to share your message. So in business, it's about really amping up your marketing and being smart with that. In relationships, it's about stepping into more of a leadership role. And generally in your life, it's just about maybe being the mover and the shaker rather than the follower, okay? Now, as we look at the near future, this is great. We like this. This is where you're headed. So we have fertility, abundance, and good resource energy coming forth. This card is second only to Empress energy as divine feminine, one of the best cards of divine feminine, I should say. So we see this Queen of Pentacles with something that she really cares about, and because she's giving it her all, she can birth, nurture, create, develop, grow, whatever that is, into something even better. And so the sky is the limit, and it could go even bigger than you might imagine, and that's why let's not limit how far the star can shine or the sky can go. So you want to think beyond limits. The bunny rabbit on here is also connected to the 8 of Wands. I feel like the next 8 weeks are going to go really, really fast for you. So this is speed. It's also fertility and abundance because rabbits multiply quickly. So one thing that I would say here is that you need to keep a handle on things. If you're managing a project, you might need help. If you're looking at a budget, you might need to look at some contingency, some extra, some padding, because things are moving and you're going to need more than you even thought of. But ultimately, this is one of the best cards we could pull for finances. So it feels like you're headed in the right direction. There's a little bit of healing to do around finances in the past. Maybe something didn't work out, but that's not what I see the possibility being here. I see the possibility for things to kind of go leaps and bounds over what they currently are. And if you're dealing with debt or a lack, it looks like we're starting to bridge that gap significantly this month. The Queen of Pentacles is also connected with not just figurative, but also literal birthing and pregnancy. So for some of you, if you've been trying to get pregnant and have had difficulty, this represents a more optimal time to give that a shot. And also just starting anything. So if we go back to the symbolic birthing or creating, this is a time where things can really take hold and move along quickly. Let's see how you're coming through. This month, you're represented by the Nine of Wands. It's one of the most hardworking and perseverant cards in the minor arcana. If I were picking teammates, I'd want someone with this kind of work ethic. So that's why I could pull these two together, and I'm like, you work hard, sometimes you work too hard. Make sure that you know when to push and when to pull back a little bit. That is one of the big growth opportunities for you this month. Pay special attention to everything in the sort of head space. With this, it can be either migraines or jaw pain that happens sometimes, or even just headaches. And this can be from overwork, dehydration, again, something dental related. Obviously, whenever any of these are going on, you want to work with your doctor, but stress management is going to be a key component to happiness as well. And if you set your mind to something, you can finish it. You're very, very close to something being done. To that end, when we look at the environment, we see someone valuing you. So first of all, you want to really feel your worth and value. And then in the environment, ask for something if you want it. If you're interested in something at a place of work, you could say, I want to put my hat into consideration for this role. If you need more help from your partner, say, I need some more assistance here. Can I count on you? If something isn't enough, you can say, I'll sign the contract if we add this in. So put whatever the missing pieces to what it is that you need into the world. Speak it, write it, somehow convey it. If someone offers you something, weigh it out and think to yourself, just like she's looking at this, is it good enough? You get to decide. Also, you can say no. There's discernment when the Ace of Pentacles is reversed. The first thing, though, that we need to do is invest in oneself. So this can be deciding to pull in a little bit more time, energy, or resources for personal development. You can decide to invest in yourself, in other words. So those are all the little nuances there, but an Ace of Pentacles is still an ace. And it says once you kind of get your energy in a good space, more opportunities will start knocking. I saw two. Like I said, if you don't like the first push, there might be a second one that's a better match for you. All right. There are things that can't be ignored anymore. In Hope Spheres and Opportunities, we have an unveiling or sort of like revealing energy here with the Two of Swords. So the blindfolds are coming off. You can no longer ignore listening to or looking at something. And once you address it, you're free. That's the takeaway here. Also, just from a health perspective, hearing and seeing, you might want to put a little bit more energy into taking care of your eyes and your ears. In the outcome, a reversed Five of Pentacles, and frankly, I want to see the card reversed. In the upright position, it has to do with kind of like feeling like an outsider, like we see here. People on the outside looking in, or they feel like they're never part of a group or a team or something of that nature. Meanwhile, we actually have two people here that could help each other, and we have shelter behind them. So things are much better than they may seem, but it requires you deciding, I'm going to move there, or I'm going to ask for help, or I'm going to accept help, and then things start to pick up. In the body, this has to do with your feet, so sometimes there may be ankle or foot injuries or maladies going on, and you want to absolutely deal with that first and foremost, because that's your connection to the earth. We got to keep your feet healthy. This can also be emotional wounds from the past, usually from childhood. So parents, teachers, and other people around us that we depend on sometimes aren't always there for us. It could also just be someone that said something cruel in the cafeteria as a kid or something like that. So we're going to take those wounds and heal them. Talk to someone if you need to. Ultimately, though, I'm not as worried about this because the Queen of Pentacles is stronger than this. So she really wants to push more abundance here. It's about accepting or asking for more and addressing anything that doesn't meet your standards or really make you happy. Okay, let's expand this a little bit deeper. We're going to go now into health, wealth, love, and destiny, beginning with health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. In the space of health, we have Raziel coming through, the inner workings. Let's bring this card to the main camera. It was reversed, but let's talk about it. Raziel comes through saying there are hidden truths beneath the surface, dig deeper. I feel like this is almost on the nose, connected to the Two of Swords. Once you see it, address it. If you deal with something as soon as it happens, then you can avoid this. You can avoid a flare-up or something getting bigger than it needs to be. So if there's a little ache or pain, talk to the doctor when you feel it. If there's something that isn't working in your car, get that mechanic to fix it before it creates more havoc. Same thing in the house. So preventative maintenance and proactive approaches are going to yield the best results. And it's also just paying attention to your inner body. So meditating and really, we talked also a little bit about this in a recent reading, like doing a scan of your body, starting the day off and just making sure that you're entering the day fully grounded, fully connected. And if there is anything that doesn't feel right, you address it before the day begins. All right, let's look at just general health messages here, some of which we've already talked about. Again, it's going to be important to pace yourself. This is a better way to look at this spread since we've talked a little bit about rest and perfectionist tendencies. So one more time, I'll mention that, but pacing is everything. So there may be days where you think, I just have to go, 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 go. And then there are other days where there's nothing happening. I think there's an opportunity to spread it out more evenly. I know this isn't always within your control, especially if you work at a job, for instance, where someone just has poor planning skills. But the opportunity through your own limits and boundaries could be in helping teach that person that there is sort of a limit to you, how much you can do in a given day. In relationships, same sort of thing. So you're helping to recalibrate the entire system around you rather than feeling like you have to take that load or burden on yourself. You can walk away from an unreasonable person, place, or thing too. Just say like, I need some time and space, or this isn't working. So that's also what we're getting with this as well. I think that taking care of yourself, doing things that really support you and help you feel grounded, that's the big focus here with Queen of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. I need more help. I need more time. However you want to communicate that. I mean, we're kind of bubbling over into work, but it's health and wealth are connected. So just knowing your limits and sticking with them, very, very key. I mentioned before, really paying attention to your head. There's so much that's contained here. We see, we hear, we think, even like, the throat and the upper spine, all of that's connected here. So paying special attention to that part of your body. And if there's anything that's out of alignment there, this is the time to really bring it into alignment. Especially, we don't look at our eyes and ears sometimes until something goes wrong. So make sure if you haven't started to schedule things like your dental checkpoint, annual checkpoint for the optometrist or ophthalmologist, that all of that gets on the books, especially as you get older, because you want to keep all of these things functioning. Like I said, preventative maintenance is key. With this, circulation in the legs is also a message with this. So I would say gentle exercise, swimming, walking, chair-based yoga, anything that you can do to get your body moving, depending on what your body's limits are, it's going to be really, really key to longevity, happiness, and success. But again, chronic pain and fatigue from the past could come through, but I do feel like this month you're going to be able to see how to avoid exacerbating that. And that's the main takeaway here, okay? Let's move to your wealth. And we have a really beautiful card coming through, but it's reversed. So we want to get you into the power of the I am presence. So it took me a while to figure out how to read this card. So I am is powerful because when I have a mantra that I've built. So you can think, I can, I will, and I am. Finishing with I am brings it into an active state. And then you can add after that anything that you aspire to be. I am worthy. I am brilliant. I am capable. Put positive adjectives after that to describe who you are and who you hope to be, but pulling it into the I am makes it now, okay? And then what we have here is light body activation, accessing the divine within. So light body activation comes through with meditation and accessing the divine within. We're really also focusing on intuitive development. So I really think that if you haven't made time and space in your life to meditate, that is where your power is going to come. And that's where great ideas are going to come for business, because we are looking at career here. All right, let's pull it into the three major categories that I look at for people when we focus on career. or I should say wealth rather. Those in a job, those looking for a job. Then we're going to look at students and retirees, because it isn't always about working. There are other aspects of our life that matter, including education and then just enjoying life in general. Okay, let's tune in to those who have a job right now. If you're working, it feels like you just got through a period where it was a lot. Like this is a tendency toward burning out, if not completely burning out. So please take care of yourself. As I said earlier, I'm getting a sense that there may be a lot going on, but there's a disengaged energy, boredom and busyness at once. And so if you're not connected to something, ask. I do feel like you have a good chance of making necessary changes happen. So if you want to do something different or something else, speak up. Travel may be an important component to this. If it's too much travel, again, push back. If there's too many things going on right now, or if there are too many things, delegate and really figure out what is the best use of your time. You're in the spotlight right now. This may be a feeling of like imposter syndrome, where you think, I don't know if I can do it. It wouldn't happen if you weren't ready. But in this moment, if you can meet the challenge with the I am presence, I am capable, I am willing, I can do this, then you can do this. So change it around, step into the spotlight, be your true self, show people what you have, to offer. And then I feel like it's going to be a very welcome and very positive experience. Talk about money. You can bring more abundance in. Some of you might actually be working a part-time job, and I think this is why there's so much like stretching of resources. So make sure that you're not working yourself into exhaustion. I think the big opportunity in present places of employment is it feels like there hasn't been a lot of sort of like focus on retaining you or acknowledging you as a talented person. So if you need a little bit more support, a little bit more resources, again, I think it's really important to have that frank conversation and push for it. Say, I've worked hard, I've done this, I'm ready for this. I am ready. Let's make this happen. Use the I am, keep it in the affirmative, and not how can we make it happen? Say, let's make it happen, and let's talk about the next steps. That takes the possibility that it won't happen off the table. Then it's really just a timeline sort of discussion. And if you get pushback, then it might be time to look in another direction. But overall, the biggest challenges for you are to avoid burning yourself out and to have limits if someone else is trying to do that, and to focus on rest. Because if you're not rested, you're not going to be able to connect with Star and Queen of Pentacles. For those that are looking for work, first of all, whether you're employed or looking for work, we have entrepreneurial energy coming through in both of these cards. So if you're drawn to that path, that might be the main focus here. It does look like there may need to be just a little bit more abundance built up before you can embark on that. Either you need a loan or you might need to save for a little bit longer. So crunch the numbers and see what it would cost to launch a business. Think about your legal expenses. Think about marketing, if there's any employees. Think about the first year, which is going to require a lot of you putting into it without necessarily seeing a large return. For me, I think it took two or 3 years for my business to really get to a point where I could depend on it. And there are still ups and downs, so you have to have that contingency, okay? So that's all that I see for the entrepreneurs. But for everybody else that's just looking for a job and is either unemployed or recently graduated and you're just trying to figure out, how do I get the job? Here's what I see. Go back to, if you've been applying for a while, one of the jobs might have opened up. There may be a new opening in a company that you've been looking at. So circle back to your old emails and to some of the bookmarked places that you've applied to and see if there isn't something that just came through. Like when you watch this reading, there might be something that opened up. Don't be afraid to go one level above. The star reversed is underestimating her power. So go more for, if you're willing and ready, for like a leadership position or middle management position, reach higher. Because we don't want you in that record groove, that vinyl groove. It's time to go and kind of like make a new pressing, something different. Can you find something? Yes. I think that the timing or the placement of it is unusual. So This is, again, it could be something that you've discounted and thought, well, it's done. I blew that opportunity, or it's that door is closed. Something could open up again. I also think you want to look in places you'd never normally apply. Different industries, different countries. You really want to go way outside of the traditional canvas. You're going to need to negotiate. I see a low ball offer here. I see the ability to get what you want or closer to what you want, but at least 10%, at least too low. Maybe in the realm of like 10,000 or something. Something's off with this offer. So definitely push, make sure you've done your homework, but you have a good chance of getting it. Look at the work culture. Is it a burnout job? If, one thing that would put me off now at this point in my life, maybe not when I was, 20, but if they're like overtime, weekend, and, on call expected, I think now I would say I think I'm going to pass on that, because I need rest. I need time. I actually look forward to nights and weekends and time with my friends and family. So look at the trade-off and think, do you want to have that phone tied to your hip all the time? If you don't, there might be sometimes less is more. And that's the thing to look at. You can make a little less, but have a lot more time and energy, and that might be worth it. So trade-offs ultimately. For those of you that are actors or performers or in the sort of public field, the star is a really auspicious card. So I think you have your moment, but you have to be willing to go the distance. Maybe travel, maybe just take on a little bit more visibility or accountability. But I feel like if you're ready to step in the spotlight's ready for you. It's a little quiet at the beginning. It may take the better part of the month. We have 4 swords, 4 weeks. It might not come through until the end of the month, or if you've watched this, it could be like 8 days later. It takes a little bit of time, and your patience is tried, but about the time you're ready to walk away, it comes through. That's what I see here. Retirees and students, let's look at you. We're going to start off with retirees first. If you're retired, congrats on getting to that point in your life. You worked yourself very hard, and I can see it's worth it. Rest. You may feel like at the very beginning of, if you've just recently retired, you might just want to sleep for a few months and take it easy. Absolutely. You may just want to kind of explore your local surroundings if you've been working so hard that you don't even get to take in your local city or country's sights and sounds. This is very much exploring by foot. It can be literally hiking or just walking around and enjoying life. So getting to sleep in, getting to explore the town. There's a chance for partnership. You may not be looking for love, but there's a chance to meet somebody new. The main thing here is nobody gets to tell you what to do or who you are. And it's okay for you to splurge on yourself a little bit. A lot of healing to be done. For those of you that worked way too hard, make sure that you're getting like a massage or acupuncture, whatever it is that kind of makes you feel better, and really take care of the feet and ankles. So that you can do all the stuff that we see here, so that you can travel, so that you can step into the spotlight, do some fun stuff. Students, here's what I see for you. You've been working too hard, too long. I do think that whatever the next semester is, take it back a little bit. Take it down by like 20 to 30%, a little bit less, 1 less credit hour, 1 less class, something of that nature. Maybe you're thinking of studying abroad, absolutely. If there's any sort of doubts or fears regarding what the next steps will be like, talk to an advisor. I think the main thing here, though, is not to be afraid to also talk about money. That was something we didn't do in my program, but I then sort of figured it out by talking to professionals once I was in the field. But know your worth so that you are able, once you graduate, to negotiate that first job contract. But ultimately here, it looks good. It just looks like there's some burnout setting in. So make sure you're resting, because otherwise, you're not going to be able to enjoy success if you're sick or if you're tired. All right, so take your time. I do think you're headed on a good track here with the Star and with the Queen of Pentacles. Lean into it a little bit more. I would say configure your program or your approach just a little bit more than you have. And don't be afraid of rejection, or don't focus solely on the money. Focus really on how connected you are to this, okay? And that's everything for wealth. Now let's take a look at love. We hinted at this a little bit already, but now let's look at this. The Oracle card itself is upside down, but the word reads release here underneath this goddess. And basically, this is an opportunity for you to let go. And we could think of this as like a reverse death card. So there could be something in your life where you're holding on for the wrong reasons. Maybe because it's the devil, like the 4 of Pentacles, or because it feels like a security blanket. At least you can predict it, at least it's there. And the universe is saying, with respect to relationships in particular, they either serve your highest good or they don't. And if someone isn't invested on the same level and in the same way that you are, it's really time to decide if this is in your best interest. So we're going to break it down into 3 categories, and we can figure out where that release might be. We're going to look at those of you already in a relationship, those that are looking for love, and then anybody that is happily single. For those of you that are currently in a relationship, I see 2 different sort of things that you might be dealing with. We'll look at it from the stable relationships first, and then we'll look at those that might be going through some things. In a stable relationship, what I'm really picking up on is some health issues. So one or both of you may be dealing with something going on either physically or emotionally. There may be a lack of time and rest going on too. So you're working too much, busy, exhausted, maybe even fatigued or sick. What you really want to do is avoid having any sort of important conversations with one another in that state. Take care of yourselves. If you see either yourself or your partner in that sort of running down energy, before you get completely run down or sick, you've got to hit the brakes and take care of yourselves. I also see traveling. One or both of you could be traveling, and that creates distance between you, because we don't see a lot of cups here actually, like the 2 of cups. We have the 8 of cups, but that's apart. So this is a card showing not a lot of communication or engagement, and this is a card of someone sometimes walking away. So one thing that's difficult is getting both of you in the same place at the same time. When the star or the stars align, things are good. When they don't, then there's hurt feelings. So I really feel that the important thing here is self-care, being present, and not having a conversation when you're in one of these sort of emotionally heightened states, specifically if it's stress. You got to take a step back. Appreciation goes a long way. Thank you. I see you. I love you. I appreciate that. And getting that same sort of support from your partner seems important for you as well. So just opening up the lines of communication, that's the key. There could be birth coming through too. And these 2 cards can come together. This is labor pain, so some of you might be having a baby. There could also just be growing pains, figuratively speaking, in the relationship. What I do like here, though, is this is something that it can stand the test of time, but it takes some work. That's all that I'm seeing here, is a little bit more work, and things will come together. For those of you that are kind of in a more shaky relationship, this is what I'm seeing. It feels like there was a recent argument. The 10 of Swords is not just pain in the body. It can be words that have been spilled, and it's difficult to get an I love you or I'm sorry from the partner sometimes. It feels like both of you have a sense that you're right. And maybe there were pieces from both of these sort of conversations where there was something valid, but one person's walking away and one person's waiting, and there's no coming together. So there's still that, and there's a lot going on in your lives. We have 2 people that are very clear of who they are, strong personalities, but there has to be sort of a meeting in the middle. It might help to have, speaking of that energy, a mediator, so couples therapy if you're in that sort of energy. If everything's good in the relationship, this could also be a busybody relative. This could be an aunt or a mother, or just someone who really likes to kind of get their hands in the middle of things, and this is where you're going to have to push back a little bit. Mostly manageable, but if it's on rocky grounds because of an argument, there has to be some resolution sooner than later. Okay? For those of you that are looking for love, self-care is important. Like I said, many of you are working too hard. I think when you stop looking, it comes. So focusing instead, like I said, health, personal development, and just putting yourself out there doing things that you love. When you're not looking, when you're just having a good time, what I see in my mind's eye is just like laughter, someone talking, hanging out with friends. That's when, out of the blue, someone comes from the corner of the room and introduces themselves. We have the Queen of Pentacles, so there could be a really grounded, very loving, very generous earth sign that's coming forth. And I'm looking at the goat there. It's very Capricorn-y, actually, because we're looking at the throne there. So there could be a Capricorn coming forth, and just very, very kind and generous energy. So put yourself out there. Don't try too hard. Don't worry too much. I think the things to focus on here, again, like energy attracts like energy, so you have to create some balance when it comes to health and general abundance in your life, so that person really does embody those traits as well. If you are happy and single, or single and happy, they go hand in hand here, good for you. It feels like many of you are focusing more on work and education. You may also be deciding to travel a little bit or just take a break. All of those things look fantastic. There are still some wounds to be healed, and this is true for everybody, really. Before you can put energy into new or existing relationships, this Five of Pentacles needs to be healed, and it has to do with someone making you feel like you weren't worthy or you weren't capable. So I'm here to say you're worthy, you're ready, and this, I think, is the energy to release from the past. If there's someone in your life that still puts that in your ear, it's time to release it and move in a different direction, okay? As we move on to destiny, we have mugwort coming through. The card is reversed. It has to do with healing, because that's one of the medicinal uses of this particular herb. So there is a general theme this month around healing and taking care of yourself. It's especially true in the destiny energy. So in order to be able to achieve all of the promises of the star card, you have to really focus on wellness and health and see through any of the things that are creating blocks in that part of your life. Let's now take a deeper dive into sun, rising, and moon sign messages and see what's in store. Aquarius, sun, rising, and moon. Taking a look now at sun sign, we have Three of Pentacles coming through. This is a perfect card for those of you that are embarking on skill building, whether that's college or training or some sort of an apprenticeship. This is a really great card for that. It represents your capability not only to do a great job, but to master that task and take it to the next level. If we take a look at the traditional card, there's something else coming through here, which is recognition. And sometimes, you know, that recognition or the accolades may not come through immediately, but you want to keep focusing on doing a high caliber or high quality of work, and eventually it will. Also, this can represent teamwork. There's multiple people here. These could either be coworkers or supervisors or someone else, but they're coming through to make sure that everything aligns to the higher plan. So this is a great time to work with others in order to create something. So again, whether that's something creative or practical or professional, this is a really, really good time for all things developmental, to launch something, build something, or create something. Let's move on from your sun sign to rising. And as we look at Aquarius rising, we have Five of Cups, and this is a perspective shift. If we take those Three Cups in the foreground and remove them, we have partnership in the form of the Two of Cups and right in the background there. We have the bridge over the water, which represents being able to move past emotions, but it really does require grieving, releasing, because that's what this card was all about. So letting go of whatever this was so that you can see this here instead, okay? And sometimes it's easier said than done. I like to remind people that there is no expiration date on how little or how much you should grieve, but I can say that there are other things here that are knocking opportunity-wise. So if you can lean on others or look around a little bit, you might find that things could start to shift a little bit energetically and emotionally. Looking at one last thing with the Five of Cups, don't beat yourself up. This can sometimes be you looking at something thinking, you know, gosh, if I'd only done this, or I should have done this, and it's sort of, it doesn't really fix what happened. So instead think, well, I learned from that and I'm not going to do this again. I'm going to do that instead. Take it to a place of higher learning. Put yourself into the elevated energy of the star. That's going to be better in the long run. Now moving on to moon sign, we have strength. You can climb any mountain, just like that Sound of Music song, climb every mountain. But you can climb any mountain. You can deal with any adversary, because the strength card is a victorious card when you're dealing with challenging people, personalities, or challenges in general. One final note is the foundation upon which everything else exists is your strength, is your body, is your health. This is a time to really focus on taking your physical well-being seriously, as well as your emotional, but we're looking at the physical card there. So really making sure that you're resting and exercising and then feeding yourself properly, because this is going to give you the fuel that you need to, again, achieve everything that we see in the star card. All right, we have one more card left, and this is whatever your question is about. So just focus on one last question that I haven't answered. put that out into the universe, and let's see what Spirit has to say. We got the Wheel of Fortune, folks. Yes, it's reversed, but it can be a change in fortune for some of you. So let's talk about this. As a yes or no, it's yes, comma, but there's more to it than just the bottom line or just the money. Cycles of wealth come and go. It's just like our financial markets. Sometimes they're really high, sometimes they crash. Most of the time, they're either climbing or descending. We spend most of our time in the middle. So don't make it all about the bottom line. But can you get something that you want this month? Absolutely. But you might have to change or recalibrate a little bit to get the wheel cranking in the right direction or trajectory. It's a time to take your resources seriously. This month in general, you should be looking at return on energetic and monetary investments and make sure that it all literally balances out at the end. But as I said, it's not just the money, it's the time, it's the satisfaction, it's the fulfillment. And if I were to look at this spread and see what's missing, I would have loved to get a little bit more like cups, 2 of cups, Ace of Cups, anything of that nature, 4 of Wands or the Lovers. Just a little bit more fun. So I think one of the missing components is people and relationships. So maybe putting a little bit more time and energy there and factoring that into your Wheel of Fortune, helping you decide how it all balances out could be really, really effective. And that, my friends, is everything. Did you like this? If you did, please like and subscribe. Let me know what resonated. Give me a follow on social media as well. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. Remember, I don't offer private readings and I don't use direct messages. So if somebody is reaching out to you and asking for something or offering something, please ignore that. You can also show love and support here through Super Stickers, Super Chat, and through memberships. That helps me rebuild, actually, because I have to get a lot of stuff rebuilt in my new studio. So please, if you'd like to do that, I just want to say thank you in advance. And for everybody else, I just want to say thanks. Thanks for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube, for spending the last 45 to 50 minutes with me. And I wish you all the best in the month ahead. And like I said, we'll be flipping things around next month, so you won't have to wait as long. So until I see you, take care.